Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, welcome to the show. This is the Millennial Millionaire podcast, and I am your host, Steven Cohen. This podcast is focused on bringing some of the wisest minds from across the globe to discuss concepts, strategies, and ideals that will lead them to be top performers in their respective industries and their lives. This show is for the millennials and millennials at heart to transcend their mindset, their health, and their income to the next level. We are so excited to have you on this journey with us. Welcome to the show. Yo, welcome back to the show, Millennial Millionaires. Today, we have another exciting guest. We have Mr. good buddy of mine, Tyler Fierro. Tyler is the founder of Be Your Own Boss Academy. He's a fitness coach that built a multiple seven-figure online business that now helps others do the same. He's helped, mentored, and coached hundreds of people quit their 9-to-5 job and make multiple six-figure incomes and achieving their goals and dreams. And he's just overall a great dude and excited to have a conversation with you, man.
I love it, man. Thank you. That was quite the introduction. I appreciate it, man.
Hey,
appreciate
dude, you're quite the guy.
Means a lot.
Thanks for coming on. Tyler, for those that don't know who you are, give a quick little story about who you are, what you're about, how you got here, and we'll hop into it, dude.
Yeah. You want the quick story?
Give me whatever story you want.
Yeah. So, man, it's crazy because when you're building businesses, you're doing things like you almost forget like where you came from, where you started. So whenever I'm asked that, I'm like, I have to think. So in high school, I've always been, I think, entrepreneur minded, right? To the point where I was throwing parties for money. I started selling certain things right before they came to the market and always finding a way to make money. So once I was 18, I was real hell-bent on like being on my own, right? So I moved out at 18, got a couple roommates, and that went to crap. I don't know if any of you guys have ever had roommates, but it never seems to work out.
It's not fun.
Never seems to work out too well. So I decided to go to the military. So I went to the Coast Guard, did a few years in. Once I got out, I realized I hated being told what to do, right? The military, I had a real bad experience. I loved the military, loved that, but the people in command didn't treat me very well. So from a very young age, around 20, I realized I hate being told what to do. I think I want to be my own boss. Obviously, I had no idea how to figure it out. So I got out, started working in the industry here in Las Vegas. There's a thing called, being a busser. It's where you work at the clubs and you bring out drinks, you kind of assist, you clean up and stuff like that. Hated it. So fast forward a few months in, got injured. And once I got injured, I looked at this as my opportunity to start doing what it is I want to do. And I thought to myself, what are all the things I'm good at? And I was like, wow, I'm really not good at much, but I'm good at fitness. So I went to a local gym. I asked them, how does it work when it comes to fitness training? They told me you have to pay rent. It was $1,000. I had no clients, no nothing, but I gave them $1,000. I was like, I'm gonna figure this out. Had no certifications yet. They said you have to be certified, this, that. So within a week, I got certified. I messaged all the people I was working with, all the ladies I was working with, like, hey, I'm gonna start coaching. I'm willing to do this, do that, kind of bribe them to get them in because I've never done this. Started coaching and fast forward, went online with it. Fast forward, now I help other people do so. So I'm sure we can get into the fine details there, but that's pretty much my story, man, in a nutshell in the last
dude, when I first
years.
met you 4 years ago now, something like that, you were actually my coach,
Yep.
right? My personal trainer. It didn't last very long, but it was great while it lasted. And I thought it was cool. I remember, we were training together for, a couple months. I remember you came up one day. It's like, yeah, I'm done personal training. I'm going to start doing online. And I was like, oh, that's awesome, dude. Why? And he was like, well, there's only so much time in a day.
Yep.
I can only see so many clients and I'm limited based on my earning potential and my capacity based on my time. So with online, you have leverage. So it's been awesome to see your journey going from essentially what Robert Kiyosaki calls from that employee quadrant really to the self-employed and then the business owner. And then I'm sure the investing side is coming soon. But dude, do you believe that everyone has the ability to be an entrepreneur?
100%. 100%. And I like what you talked about, switching over from being, in person to online, because what people don't realize is when you're self-employed, you're an employee for yourself. You're an employee for yourself, right? I had a call with a client of mine this morning and she's a lash artist. So she's self-employed, and me and her had a talk because she's made so much money in the last 2 weeks and she's about to quit that. And she's like, with that, I thought I was my own boss, but I was really just employed by myself. And now I'm finally starting to get over to, actually having that freedom. So yes, I believe anyone could become an entrepreneur, 1,000 trillion, billion%. Do I think everyone has what it takes? No, but I think everyone could. I think there needs to be balance to the world, but I think there is those certain people who have hunger, who want more. They just need that guidance. And if they have that right guidance, yes, anyone could become an entrepreneur, because at the end of the day, man, like, you get one life. So if if you put your mind to it, I think you could do it.
No, I agree with you, man. I have a similar story, not through fitness, but kind of you. I went through multiple jobs that I really disliked. I hated being told what to do. I never understood the concept why someone would slave away at a job that they don't like, being undervalued, being underpaid. To your point, YOLO, you only have one life for 40 years of your life. And seeing my parents do it and not having anything to show for it, I was always very against it. When I first got into entrepreneurship, I think it was 2013, it was network marketing, which was a little bit different. Social media wasn't as big. The opportunity, what people had today wasn't as big. But once I got that entrepreneur itch, it almost felt like I unlocked the hidden fruit of the universe or the world to be like, yo, you don't have to be a doctor, a lawyer, or surgeon to be successful. You can actually create success by just being hungry. So I'm super passionate about the topic, as well as helping young people, specifically people that haven't got as much baggage in life or haven't got to a point that got stuck. Because the worst thing that I envision for people is you don't take that chance. You don't take that leap of faith on yourself, whether that's to go start your own online business or move to that state to try that new job or whatever the case is. And then you end up having a lot of regret. So for you, Tyler, how was that transition? What did it take going from that employee mindset to really being your own boss, being an entrepreneur?
Dude, I've always been very logical. And from a young age, I was like, people are choosing one path compared to the other, and it made no sense to me. So for me, it wasn't hard, right? When I was from the military to that buster job, it wasn't hard. I knew I was either going to go broke or figure it out. I had no idea I could even make money with fitness. When I got into fitness, I like to say it wasn't as big. I know fitness has always been big, but not many people were competing yet. People looked at me like, what are you doing? My mom even gave me crap when I was doing it, like, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. Like, what are you doing? But I knew I just wanted to work for myself. That's all I knew. I just knew I wanted to work for myself. So the transition in terms of me just doing it wasn't hard. To me, it didn't even feel like a risk. It felt like the alternative sucks, and I'd rather work for myself. So that's why it shocks me when people choose the alternative and just accept it, because you don't have to accept the alternative. But I think most don't know you have another option, right? And that's why I always like to talk about it, about that. I think it's crazy that people accept working for 40 years, doing a job they hate, and they think that's the safe path, but they look at the 2-year path, building your own future, building your own business is too risky and takes too long. To me, it's the complete opposite. I think 40 years doing what it is you hate, being miserable every day, is way harder than grinding for 2 years and doing what it is ultimately you will love. You know, so to me, the path was very easy, and it was just a matter of, I didn't know how long it was going to take or what it was going to take.
Yeah. Why do you think people aren't so afraid to bet on themselves and take that risk? Do you think it's conditioning? Because I think if we surveyed 100 people out in the Las Vegas Strip or buddies of ours from high school or college and say, hey, you know, do you want to have time flexibility? Do you want unlimited earning potential? Like, do you want to bet on yourself? Like, most people would want those things. But when you look at the actual demographics and statistics, most people end up working a job that they hate. They're unfulfilled. They're overweight. They're not making the money they want. Why is that? Is that conditioning? Is it the human nature of scarcity? What do you think that is?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it's multiple things. And I'll get into, hopefully people watching this will like change their mindset around this and be like, wow, there's really nothing to lose. But I think it's conditioning, and I also think it's laziness, believe it or not. I think it's one of those things, they want it, but then once they see the work it's actually going to take, they're like, I'm good, right? Because when you see someone who's made it, you want to be where they are, but you don't want to go through the work they went through, right? And so I think it's some of that, and it's some of conditioning where they don't think it's real, it's too good to be true. You know, this is all I've been shown, this is all my parents have done, right? So I think it's some of that. And then there's the other side they're just terrified to take a risk. They're terrified to take a bet on themselves because they think like, what if it doesn't work? And what I want to say to that is you have nothing to lose taking a bet on yourself, investing in yourself, taking a risk, because you can always go back to what it is you're doing currently, right? And that's what people need to realize. If they're scared to go into a new idea, plan B is what you're already doing. So if you hate where you are, don't worry, it's still going to be there if you take a risk. But if you don't do anything, you're going to stay where you hate being, right? So I think people need to change their, like what ifs to like, why not? You know what I mean? So I hope that changes people's mindset, because it's really not scary taking a bet on yourself, a risk on yourself if you don't like where you are. Like, what do you have to lose? You can always go back right to where you are right now. So I think there's multiple things, but I think people need to change their mindset.
No, I love that, right? You know, instead of the why not, and I think you hit it right on the head, dude. It's like what is the alternative?
Yep.
You know, most people are scared to take that risk or put themselves in a vulnerable situation or put themselves in an environment where there's maybe unknown factors, which is what entrepreneurship is. It's taking a bet on yourself, stepping into the unknown and making the unknown the known. But for me, it was very simple as well, because it's like, what's the alternative? The alternative is a lot worse than the opportunity of taking a chance and of it not working out. And it made me recondition what failure looked like. I think people have this idea of failure that, oh, I'm scared to go fail. I don't want to go try this new thing. I don't want to start my own coaching business. I don't want to get into solar direct sales or 100% commission because of the risk of failure. But I think when you realize that the only way you fail in something is if you quit or if you stop doing it, and failing is actually just a learning block to become better. And in 100%. Life, you need to fail in order to become better, right? We've heard the Kobe and the Elon Musk quotes all the time where it's like, I've just failed more than the other person was willing to try. What's your concept when it comes to failure? Yeah,
the most successful people have failed the most. They were willing to fail the most, 100%. Like, bringing it back to what's the alternative? Whenever I'm on coaching calls with my clients, because we do big group classes every single week, I would say, dude, at least one class a week. I'm like, guys, I'm asking you we'll use posting content as an example, right? I'm helping people build online businesses. I think in 2024, the best way you can go is online. So I'm always moving with the time. So that's why I do online. But I was like, we'll use marketing as an example. I'm like, what's the alternative? I'm asking you guys to make a post every day, to maybe do a little bit of outreach or engage with people engaging with your content, right? That might take 45 minutes. And I see people not even doing it. I'm like, guys, what's the alternative? Because I'd rather sit on my couch for 45 minutes and do that than go clock into a job for 8 hours and work for someone else. Like, if you gave your own business 8 hours a day, you know how successful you would be. So I always tell them that. So, man, it's just, you got to ask yourself, what's the alternative with things? And I think, and that's what I meant when I was young. I looked at that right away. I was like, I'm not doing this for the rest of my life. I'd rather be freaking broke and unhappy than doing that, because I'll be more happy. So yeah, that's pretty much the way I view it, man. Yeah.
When it comes to coaching, because, you know, you went from like physically coaching people to now, obviously you're still coaching on the fitness space, but I imagine in your current role with your business, most of it is more on the mental side than the physical side, right? Because you went from doing to teaching how to do to now teaching other people to teach how to do, which I think is the evolution in a lot of different businesses if you want leverage and if you want to scale. What was that transition going from being a physical coach to now like a mental coach? And what did you have to do, or who did you have to become in order to create that?
I love that question. I think it's very similar. I think I was suiting myself well to play this role from building a business, from building the business I'm teaching. And that's what's a little bit unique about me, because not dissing on anyone, but a lot of people in my industry have never really built a business that they're teaching, right? So I built a very successful online coaching business. And by doing so, I went through so many ups and downs, right? Mentally, man. And I always say, you have to become the person that you have to become an entrepreneur. And through building my online coaching business, when I was doing fitness, there were so many ups and downs, man. So many great months, so many bad months, so many months if I didn't know if I was going to get a client. And that really conditioned me in many ways to help people do it now. Because when people are down here, I know exactly what they're going through. When people are up here, I know what they need to do to stay here. And I also know how to help them with the actual business because I did it. So I think in every single way, me doing it for many years has helped me be able to help people do it now. And honestly, man, when I first started doing online coaching, I'll be very transparent, within the first year I wanted to start doing this. And a mentor of mine told me, like, oh, no way, man, you have to do this for a while. You have to become successful in it. How are you going to teach something that you haven't even mastered yet? Right? So and looking back now, I was nowhere in a position to help people, even my first year in, at that point I had a lot of success. I made multiple six figures. So yeah, man, just my journey in general, in person to going online, just all the uphill battles, the mental game, I think put me in a really good place to help people with their journeys, because becoming an entrepreneur is all mental. It's a totally you against you. It's our brain. It's paralysis by analysis. You know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely would not trade my journey to where I got now that I can help people.
Yeah, hindsight's 20/20, right? Like when you're going through the challenges, you're going through the tribulations, you're like, I wish this never ends. Should I go work another job? Maybe it's easier. Maybe I should have listened to my mom when she told me. But then when you look back, you're like, yo, that's who made me the individual.
Yep.
And now you have the empathy, compassion, and ability to connect with the people that you're mentoring at a higher level because you've been there. And I also want to double click on what you said. And this has been something that I've even dealt with, is there's so much noise and content on social media right now.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like everyone is some type of, you know, mindset guru or spiritual guru, right? Like there's all these courses and trainings and webinars and coaches and mentorship programs that you can buy into. And when you look at a lot of them, you know, one of the one of the concepts that I live my life by is like, who do you listen to?
Yep.
You know, I'm always asking myself that, who am I listening to, or what am I listening to? What information am I allowing in my mind? Who am I taking advice from? If my friend that got a divorce is telling me about my relationship, probably not a great person to listen to. You know, if your broke friend is telling you how you shouldn't go start that business, probably not a good person to listen to, right? But yet, a lot of us take advice from people that we internalize, from people that we wouldn't trade places with in whatever that certain area of our life in that we're trying to improve. So for me, I'm always asking myself, who should I listen to? So it's very important for people that are looking to get mentorship to make sure the people that you're listening to have actually built something in a business. A lot of people are making money by teaching you how to make money that have never actually made money other than teaching you how to make money. So it's like, for me, it's crazy, right? But that's the world we live in. So for me, and we've talked about, one of my passions is getting into coaching, and I know we're going to talk about that more on the personal development and speaking. Definitely not a fitness coach, but some of the other areas. But even for me, I sometimes feel that imposter syndrome of, have I created enough? Have I done enough? Who am I to think that I am now worth selling my time and energy to coach people? So question for you, Tyler.
Yes.
Going through that journey, and I think most people do, did you feel imposter syndrome, and what did you do to overcome that?
Yeah, dude, every step of the way. I think imposter syndrome is part of it. I think at all levels I hear people way more successful than me even saying they deal with imposter syndrome. I'm like, how could they be dealing with imposter syndrome? So I think we all deal with it, especially when you go on this journey. It's something you're going to have to just you're going to have to do and get enough results and prove it to yourself to kind of push away the imposter syndrome. So I think it's just by doing it, learning, getting better, and proving yourself, right? The proof's in the pudding. So as you start getting the results, you become undeniable. And as you become undeniable and you're seeing it all around you that what you're doing is undeniable, then the imposter syndrome slowly goes. Because I dealt with that, especially with this business, for probably the first 6 months. And then as I started getting results, the proof, people's lives changing, I'm like, wow, I actually am really good at this. Even though I did it already, I was like, who am I to teach it, right? And once I started doing it and I started seeing the results, people's lives changing, more and more people signing up, more and more referrals. And I guess it kind of shut that out. You know what I mean? So I think you just gotta, by acting, by doing, by not thinking you have to be perfect to start, because most people find every reason. And like I said, paralysis by analysis. You're analyzing the situation. You're like, who am I to help with this? Like, and you're giving yourself paralysis. Instead, just act, get the results, and you're like, damn, I am better than I thought, and I can really help people, and I can really do this. That's the only way. You got to freaking act. But if you always just think about it and keep thinking, then you're never going to do, and then you're going to always have that imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I agree. I heard this. I forgot from where, but imposter syndrome is a sign that you're doing something right, because you're putting yourself in a situation that is past where you currently believe you're at.
Wow,
and the only way in order to get there is to really sit with that imposter syndrome and, like you said, drown it out with action. And the crazy thing is, as you continue to evolve that edge of your comfort zone, which some people call imposter syndrome, then you now become that person that at once you didn't think that you could be, and then you create that new level for your life.
Dude, I love that. That was good.
It's a bar, right?
That's a bar.
That's why we're here.
I'm going to take that. That was good. I learned something there.
Let's go. Question for you, dude. So you brought up about changing lives.
Yep.
Which for me, being in my industry for the last 10 years, 11, 12 years, actually, that's what's really kept me around. You know, it's one thing to make your first 6 figures. It's one thing to help you get your first dream house or dream car or whatever. But I think it's a whole nother impact and a whole nother level of fulfillment to help other people do it. Talk to me about the first time you had that experience, and what did it do for you, about literally having someone come to you and be like, dude, you changed my life, whether that was from a monetary standpoint or helping them quit their job and now they're thriving. Talk to me about that experience.
Yeah, and before I do, I'm excited to share that, because I remember the exact person. But a lot of people ask me, hey, if you were so successful in fitness, why did you start teaching it? And it was more purpose. I was making so much money with fitness, and I could have kept scaling. I know people making $30 million a year with fitness, right? So there was no ceiling to that, but it got to a point where I was like, I want more purpose. I want to help people actually change their lives, make more money, get out of their situations, be your own boss. So that's why I started doing this. And the biggest thing I can remember, and this wasn't too long ago, it was probably 7 months ago, someone came to me. We were on a one-on-one call, and they really wanted to do this. They really wanted to change their life. They're like, I really need help. And it got to the point where they showed me their bank account. They had $300 in their bank account. That's it. Like, grown man, $300 in his bank account, asking me for help. I was like, all right, man, I'm going to help you. I'm going to change your life. And then within 3 months, he was doing $30,000 a month.
Wow.
And dude, the excitement, you changed my life. My wife's grateful, this, that. I'll never forget that feeling. And so since then, the amount of people, I've had similar stories, people changing their life. It's way deeper than just, other businesses. So that's why I'm really driven to this business, man, and really changing people's lives. Like, a lot of people say they want to change lives, but I really love changing people's lives.
Yeah,
so
dude.
that's what really calls me to doing this.
Yeah, no, I love that. The reason I bring that up is because, I think from the outside looking in, when someone sees someone that's successful, or we're talking a lot about entrepreneurship and breaking away from that employee mindset, which we're both super passionate about. I think a lot of people can think, oh, that's selfish, or they're just doing it for the money or monetarily, right? Like, I used to think that. I was conditioned from an early age from my parents, because they had no money, that broke people were evil, they lied, cheat, and steal, they only care about themselves. And if you don't address those unconscious beliefs as you get older, then, you start to take action and start self-sabotaging, because why would I want to create success if deep down, unconsciously, I believe that successful people are bad, and I don't want to be bad, therefore do I not want to be successful? So I feel like a lot of people need to address those unconscious beliefs. But I think for most people, the reason that they should get into some type of entrepreneurship, or they're in a coaching or leadership or management role where they have the ability to impact someone's life, is for those reasons. Because when you can truly change someone's life, and you have multiple people that can come to you and be like, dude, you were a small part of my success story, but now I have money in the bank. I feel more fulfilled. I can spend time with my family. I can take my son to baseball games because now I don't have to clock in and clock out. Those are the things that make you more fulfilled than a car or a house or a check. And you get addicted to that feeling of helping people, because I believe as human beings, we really are designed to help people. Like, we're naturally wired that way. And the more you do, the more fulfilled you feel, the more fulfilled you feel, the more energy you have, and so on and so forth.
Exactly.
So just wanted to touch on that. When it comes to your students and mentorship, you've had the opportunity to coach and mentor, hundreds of people, probably close to thousands of people at this point since launching your business. Where do you feel like the common denominators are of the people that come to you and want to make a change and actually do it, versus the students that come to you, say all these things, but nothing actually changes in their life?
Oh, easy. They just do what's told. They're coachable. So many people ask me that when they start. They're like, all right, what's the difference between someone who does really well their first month and someone who does? I'm like, the person who just does what it is we give. They just take action. Most people just don't take action. And if you're willing to take action, something I was teaching, if you're willing to do something every day for the next year and be consistent, the more you do, the better you're going to get. The better you get, the longer you're going to do it. The longer you do it, the more results you're going to get. It's going to compound. So I said, if you just take the things we teach and you do it consistently, you're going to be in the top 1%. Let's use a piano as an example. If you start playing the piano tomorrow, you're going to suck. You're going to suck at first. And people need to accept that. You're going to suck at first. So whatever it is you're going into, embrace it. You got to suck first to get good. So if you start playing the piano, you're going to suck at first. Most people are going to quit their first week because they're like, this is hard, I suck.
Yep.
Okay, you're going to stick past it for the first week. Now you're doing it for 2 weeks. You're doing it every day. You're practicing every day. After 6 months, most people are now only doing it once a week. But you're just still doing it 7 days a week. You're practicing for 30 minutes, 7 days a week. After a year, it's unreasonable to not be in the top 1% because you were willing to do it all this time. Everyone else is quitting, being less consistent. So I truly believe if you commit to anything for the next year or two and you're consistent, you do it every day, day in, day out, something that's proven, obviously, you will be in the top 1% very quickly because you're going to beat out everyone else. It's easy to be successful because everyone quits. So the common denominator is people who are consistent and just do what they're told. They're coachable and they actually utilize what it is they have invested for. So that's the common denominator. And something else I want to touch on what you were talking about is, yeah, you should get into entrepreneurship to help people. anyone watching this, if you have a family, do it to help your family. Because once you start getting into entrepreneurship, now you're getting your time back. You're making more money. You can maybe do things for your mom, your spouse, your kids that you couldn't do before. You're giving them more time. So do it to help people, but also do it to help your family. Do it to help the people around you, right? Which is helping people. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick as well.
No, I love that, dude. And even to extrapolate that out a little bit, it's in whatever industry that people are in, company, business, like there is a system for most parts, or there's someone that is winning at a high level.
Yep.
You know, I remember when I got into solar, I was like, who's the guy making the most money? You? All right. What are you doing, dude? Like,
Exactly.
what are you reading? What are you thinking about? How many hours do you knock? Like, what kind of Starbucks are you getting? Like, whatever you're doing, dude, like I want to do because success leaves clues. And I think
100%.
so many people, and I'm sure you can agree, Tyler, they try and reinvent the wheel. You know, they come into a business, they get excited, and they're like, well, I know you're doing it this way, and you're obviously crushing it, but, you know, I think I'm going to do it this way. And it's like, no, don't reinvent the wheel until you get to a point where maybe you have enough success where then you can start to innovate a little bit. But for the most part, whatever industry, company, job, profession, business you're in, there's probably someone winning at a high level.
Yes.
And
Gotta find the blueprint.
all you have to do is, to your point, is follow the blueprint. Closed mouths don't get fed. Ask them. And if I think when you do what people do and you say what they say, you're going to get what they get every single time.
1000%, dude. Before I started doing this business, I spent 6 figures in coaching. Like people think like I was like, whenever someone signs up, I'm like, congrats. You just did what anyone I've seen who's been successful in business, entrepreneurship, which is invest in themselves. And you just did what you're going to be expecting your clients to do with you, which is invest in themselves. So how can you get someone to invest in themselves if you won't even invest in yourself? So my point to that is I have paid over 6 figures in coaching before I ever started doing this. And I still continue to get coaches to this day because success, what'd you say? Success leaves
Clues.
Dude, success leaves clues 100%. Like, why am I going to try to waste years trying to figure something out when I can get someone who's been there, done that can tell me right away, and I can get there in this amount of time instead of this amount of time? To me, once again, I said I've always been very logical. So to me, it just made sense. And it wasn't even scary. Hiring my first coach, dude, it was $12K. I had $13,000 in the bank. I wasn't even scared. I paid it. I was like, cool, this is going to give me a lot back because this dude already did it and he's going to show me how to do it. So that's why in the beginning, you're like, why are people scared? I'm like, I don't know, because I've never been scared. To me, it just seemed like common sense, but I can understand it now being in it for a while. We're all different. So yeah, dude, I think people, whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is, you want to have the best relationship, find someone who's had a freaking 50-year marriage. You want to be the best in business, find whatever it is you want to do, someone who's done it and convince them to help you and teach you. Right. So I think it's pretty simple.
Investing in yourself, dude. Let's talk about that a little bit. So
This is a fun one.
When people ask me, you know, hey, how'd you get in this position? Like, you know, how'd you do what you did? There's a lot of different answers, but I would probably narrow it down to I worked really hard on myself. I worked hard on my attitude, my confidence, my mentality, my focus, cutting out distractions. Jim Rohn has a great quote. He says, when you work hard on your job, you'll make a living, but if you work hard on yourself, you'll make a fortune. And I heard that over a decade ago, and I've read so many books, dude. I've gone to so many conferences. I've hired so many different coaches, and I've really just wanted to become the most valuable version of myself, because I know wherever I go, you take yourself with you. It doesn't matter if you're a business coach, a solar leader, a drop shipper, a life insurance guy, freaking MMA fighter, like that mentality transfers over to whatever industry you go to. And it's crazy to me when I see people losing, whether it's in my industry or in different industries, I can almost pinpoint to the dollar amount, the amount of money that they invested into themselves. And it's usually less than $500. Why do you think that is? And talk to us about the value of actually spending your hard-earned money, allowing that to feel discomfort and maybe a little fear for some people, but the ROI that most people will get on personal development.
Yeah, the ROI is crazy. When the highest ROI is yourself. Going to the gym, you're investing in yourself. You're paying for your gym membership, right? I think investing in yourself goes way deeper than just getting a business coach. It's the food you're getting. What are you putting in your body? The gym you're going to, making sure you're going to the gym, right? And when you start to invest in yourself, you get more confidence in yourself. We'll start there. And what I love about someone taking their hard-earned money and betting on themselves is you're betting on yourself. You just prove to yourself that you believe in yourself, right? You straight up, like a lot of people use the example of, when you invest in yourself, now you feel more pressure. Yeah, that's true, but you just told yourself you believe in yourself. Because a lot of times when there's a proven concept, a proven thing, and people are scared to spend money, it's because they don't believe in themselves. Because if they believed in themselves, like, oh, Tyler, you've helped 100 people get to 10,000 a month, so I know it's real. If that person believed in themselves and said, I'm going to pay him, and I know I'm going to get to 10,000 a month, right? But they're scared to pay it because they don't actually believe they're going to be able to do it. So that's a confidence issue, right? Because if they believed, hey, I'm going to do it, I'm going to make this happen, they would never think twice about investing in themselves. So I think the biggest thing is, if you don't have confidence in yourself, if you struggle with confidence, you don't believe in yourself, I think you should find something that's betting on yourself, because you're going to find newfound confidence, right? You're going to get newfound swag to yourself. That's why these guys who are high level, they have swag, they're confident, they're living the lives you want, they're getting the girls you want, they're doing what they want because they have built that confidence. They became undeniable, right? So I love investing in yourself. I think you get way more out of it than just money, than just external things. You get a lot internally as well.
I love that, dude. How important is, I talk a lot about kind of the mental, right? Making sure that you feed your mind. We feed our body. You need to make sure you feed your mind. Let's talk a little bit about the body, though, because, your health and your wellness and like your temple is very important on how you perform. For a really long time, I neglected my fitness and my health early in my entrepreneur because I had the limiting mindset that, hey, I just need to go all in on business today and sacrifice my fitness and health tomorrow. So eventually when I have enough money to have a private chef and all the gym memberships and a personal trainer that comes to me, then I'll be healthy and successful, which was a limiting belief. It wasn't until like, no, I need to be encompassing all areas because they all bleed into each other. There's a lot of super successful people that are fit. There's also a lot of super successful people that are unfit, but I would argue that the unfit super successful people, they're probably dealing with a lot of challenges mentally and maybe emotionally, because that is a reflection of their internal world. So talk to me about the importance of fitness for entrepreneurs, having energy, vitality, and what people can do to cultivate it.
Yeah, I feel like every question you ask, I get a little deeper than the actual question, but I don't think you're truly successful if you make millions, but you're out of shape. You have a bad relationship. You treat your family like shit. I don't think that's truly success. Just because you make a lot of money, it's not success. I think success is everything, and I think, like I said in the beginning, you have to become the person over time. So over time, I was kind of that shitty person at first. I was just like money, working. I put the gym aside, my family aside, everything aside, right? And over time, prioritizing my relationship with my fiance, getting better about communicating with my family and talking to them, like actually helping people, not just caring about money, was very important. And even fitness, I was in a fitness industry and I started neglecting my fitness because I was so busy. And I think it all just compasses together, man. And it's something that if you want to be truly successful, it's very important that you prioritize all those other things than just building the business. Because if all you care about is building the business, and you neglect all those other things, by the time you get there, you're going to be like, this isn't really much. This isn't what I actually thought it would be. And then you realize all these other things are actually what matters. And I think fitness is just like business. So if an 18-year-old came to me tomorrow and said, I want to be successful in the future, what do you recommend for me? I would say, start a fitness journey. I wouldn't say go start a business. I would say start a fitness journey, because once you start a fitness journey, you're being consistent on yourself. You have to create habits. You have to be consistent day in, day out. You have to watch what you're eating every day. You have to show up to the gym every day, even when you don't want to. It's all the same things as business. So I think prioritizing your fitness is very important for, building confidence in yourself, belief in yourself, creating good habits. But it's also important because if you don't prioritize fitness, health, your energy just dwindles down, and all those other things. So I think it's a non-negotiable over time that to be truly successful, you need to prioritize your fitness, your mental health, all those things.
Yeah, I love what you said, having all this money and then getting to the place that you want to and then being empty. Tony Robbins has a great quote. He said that success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Achieving all your monetary and materialistic goals, getting there and being like, this is it.
Yep.
That's a scary place to be. Tyler, do you believe in balance?
Yes and no.
Elaborate.
Okay, so this is something I've never talked about, something that's just in my head. And I've heard it from a few people. I've heard so many different sides, right, of this. What I believe in is there is no such thing as balance. It's whatever you're doing in the moment 100%. Is that okay? So yes, there's balance. You need to balance everything, but when you're doing something, you're balanced on that. So like if I have calls 8 to 12, I'm all in for my calls, right? if at 12 to 1 I'm going to the gym, I'm all in for that. If I told my fiance 5 to 7 is our time, I'm all in for that. So there is balance, but there at the same time there's no balance. Meaning you're focused on what you're doing in that moment. Does that make sense? Is what I'm trying to say make sense?
100%.
So yes, I think there's balance, but I think what people try to do is they try to balance it all together at the same time. When you need to be all in for what it is you're doing at the times you're supposed to be doing it. So that's, I guess, the best way I can word that or answer that in my opinion.
No, it's a great point. Be where your feet are. And, I'm curious to popcorn this with you. So the more I grew in my business and professional life, the more I kind of grew in my spiritual life.
Okay.
Now I'm Jewish. I was raised Jewish, but I don't really follow too many other traditions other than the normal Hanukkah and, the things. But when I talk about spirituality, I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about mindfulness and peace and presence and serenity and the universal laws, things like law of attraction, law of vibration, quantum physics, etc. So as I've kind of grew more on my business and professional world, my spiritual side has grown as well. But there's also been a level of confliction because you don't want to sacrifice fulfillment for accomplishment, kind of like what we talked about. So for you, dude, how do you maintain that level of presence where you're spending time with your fiance, you're enjoying your life, you have this ability to cultivate this life that you enjoy without kind of losing yourself in the grind of more and accomplishment?
Okay, that's good. So yeah, we'll bring that in. So I'm Christian. I believe in God, believe in Jesus. So that's actually where I think I started to change. Believe it or not, man, I found all this success. And to some people watching this, my high success wasn't much. But to me, it was. And I was like, dang, none of this means anything. So I reached that point that I was talking about you don't want to reach. And in those moments, I think when I was in the valley, that's when I really found God, actually. Sometimes, and a lot of people would be like, well, if God's so great, why does he put me through bad situations? I think sometimes we need to be put in bad situations to find those things and figure out, we actually need God. I actually need God, right? So I got to that point, and then ever since then, man, I just been growing my faith, really depending on God instead of depending on myself. So once I started depending on God, I'm like, fear is not actually from God. It's from things of the unknown. So if I'm putting my dependence on God, why am I going to be stressed fearing things when I'm not the one in control? So I think that's actually my faith and just being consistent and, doing my due diligence with, studying, getting closer with God and doing things for the right reason is where I was able to start finding that balance and not being stressed to do things outside of the business. Because before, dude, if it didn't have to do with business, I wasn't doing it. Family, trips, nothing. It was business, right? So I would say me getting to my lowest point got me out of that and, really building my relationship with God.
Yeah. And, you said that you've sacrificed other areas in life to double down in business. And I've been there as well. There were points in my career where the only thing I cared about was building my solar business. I didn't care about my friends or really spending time with my family. It was all in. And to some degree, I feel like there are seasons of life where you do sometimes have to have that mentality where it's, hey, I need to sacrifice today, tomorrow, week, month, year to put me in a position where I don't have to sacrifice anymore. But obviously that's not sustainable because you don't want to be trading your life force for something that's materialistic and realize you sacrifice the important things in your life for that. But I think it's important for people to realize that there are seasons of your life where sometimes you will have to sacrifice in the short term in order to get further in the long term. But there also are seasons where sometimes you can create more of that balance, which we don't love the word, but that balance and sustainability. Talk to me about seasons of life, what people need to do in certain seasons, sacrifice, and how people can utilize those things.
Dude, like I said, it's the person you have to become. So I'm 100% a believer, and ladies watching this, if you got a man who's trying to build a business, support him. He's going to not give you as much time and attention in the first few years building something, and just know he's going to be better on the other side of it because it's the person you got to become, right? And he's going to realize as building that, the thing's getting built, but it doesn't mean as much as he thought it did, and you need those other things. So I believe to be successful in anything, you're going to have to give it your all freaking in at first. Like, no going out, no doing this, no doing that. Like, lock yourself in a dungeon, and that's all you do for a while. I hate to say that. I in certain businesses, I think you kind of need that mentality if you want to separate yourself from the rest. I wanted to separate myself from the rest, and I knew that's what it was going to take. But then it got to a point where I created enough success where I could start to have balance, and I realized I needed the balance, right? So, yes, I think there's seasons of life where we do need to go all in. There's seasons of life where we need to have more fun. There's seasons of life where we need to prioritize certain things over certain things. So that's kind of my opinions and views on that.
That's well said, dude. Tyler, how do you create structure in your life? Because one of the things that I feel like are challenging for people that are entrepreneurs or self-employed or just have control over their schedule where they're not bound to a place to be or a job, they struggle with getting the things that they need to be done and also mixing up activity for productivity. So what do you do throughout the day to make sure you're being productive and have that routine that is serving you to make sure you're pouring into your cup as well as your business cup, your family's cup, and et cetera?
It's probably the same as you, man. I look at my day, like we're talking about business, and not family yet, just business throughout my day. I'm like, what's money-making activities? Straight up. And if it's not, remove it. Like, what am I doing that for? So, and that's what I teach my clients to do. I'm like, guys, you're right now, hate to say this, be your own boss. You're employed by yourself. You have to, your first job, and I always tell them, hey, if you hired someone to be your marketer, wouldn't you be pretty mad if they didn't make a post per day? If you hired someone to do your messaging, wouldn't you be mad if they didn't message that person back or start a few messages? Because you're a marketer and you're a setter, right? To people who don't know this business, this might be foreign talk to you, but you have to ask yourself, what's money-making activities? And that's how I structure my day. So my day, I would say the biggest thing about my business is fulfillment, right? If the fulfillment goes down, my business goes down. So client results is the most important thing. And it's not just the most important thing to make money, but it's the most important thing to me. That's what keeps me up at night, is my client success. It's not, am I going to get the next sale tomorrow? It's my success. So I structure my day purely around what is going to grow my business and do it in a moral, correct way, right? So I hope that kind of answers the question. And I've surrounded myself with a really great team. People who are way more organized than me, because as you grow, when you're someone like me who's entrepreneur, you have big visions, you have big dreams. We're very unorganized in a lot of things. So I have a great team around me, keeps me on track. We always have meetings. And then the people who not work for me, the people who hire me, we give them that structure because we built the business, we've grown. So you just, whatever you're doing, you got to ask what's going to actually help it grow. And if it's not helping it grow, maybe you shouldn't be focusing on that thing throughout your day. It's probably wasting your time. Netflix can be one of those things. Maybe you should be building that business, building your future instead of watching Netflix. Netflix is not a money-making activity. Working on that business is a money-making activity, right? So going to the gym, that's going to get me healthier. That is a great activity you should be putting in your day, right? Going to the bar with your friends might not be right now. So just stuff like that. That's how I structure my day.
No, I love it, dude. I want to talk a little bit about sustainability. It's a word that I've really been meditating on recently because, Tyler, you and I both know people who maybe started before us, maybe started after us. Maybe they had a short burst of success. Maybe it was in your space. I definitely know people in my space that when I started were freaking crushing it. They were the people I put on a pedestal, the people speaking on stages. I would idolize these people from outside looking in when I was just getting going. And then I tracked their success, maybe a year, 5 years, 10 years, and they've never really been able to get back to that original level of success. And some of them aren't even following their dreams or still in that business anymore. So for you, dude, it's not just about making money or creating success in a year or 5 years, but it's creating sustainability and then incremental growth over a long enough period of time. What does sustainability look for you, and how do you think your students and people can create that in their life?
Yeah. So to my students, 10K a month sounds like a lot to you guys, but I know that's like not that. It's like the tip of the iceberg. Like to me, like 10K, then 15K, then 20K, 30K, 40K. That's actually slow growth in my industry. And to people watching this, and my students are like, that's so much. But I believe in slow growth. I rather grow slow, sustainably, predictably, because I can become the person I need to become with the success. So I think fast success builds ego, slow success builds character, right? We need character. We need to become the person we need to become. So I would, and this is going to sound crazy, if you told me your business could be doing 10 million a month tomorrow, I wouldn't want it because I couldn't handle it. It would destroy me.
Because you're not the right person to handle something.
I wouldn't
like
be able to. And the person I was 2 years ago couldn't handle what I'm doing today. So I know I'm going to grow into that, but I know I got to grow in that way. So for anyone who wants to get rich quick or go really fast, it's sometimes the worst thing that could happen, right? And to your point, a lot of those people who are probably really successful is probably really quick, and they built an ego. Now they think they don't need to do the things that got them there. They think that they built an ego, is my point. And you got to build character in this game. I think to be successful long term, you got to kind of remove yourself from the business, because if you ever want to grow, scale, You got to be able to leverage. And what's leveraging? Giving up control. So if you build an ego, you're never going to give up control. And you're right. Does that answer decently well?
100%,
Dude, so I'm big about that. So, and I've always known that about myself, that I'm okay with growing slowly, because you also learn how to make it sustainable when you're growing slowly. You learn how you got there, how to stay there, then slowly go up, right? And for you guys watching this or anyone watching this, the slow success in my business seems astronomical to people. So is it really slow growth? You're still growing quite quickly.
Yeah, I love the Will Smith video where he says that if you want to go build a wall, you don't set out to go build a wall. You lay a brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid day after day after day, and then soon you will eventually have a wall.
Yep.
And I love that mentality, because everyone wants the fast success like you talked about. And especially on social media, it's a bit deceiving for people to see the highlight reels. But everyone wants to get rich quick. I want to make $1 million tomorrow. But to your point, the people that you normally hit success quick, they end up not sustaining it because their income out-earns their personal development, or their income out-earns their identity. And you will only be able to create what you feel like you believe you're truly worth at the end of the day. And the way that you increase your belief in your worth are by doing the things that you need to do, compounded that perfectly laid brick, to make you believe, yo, I didn't take any shortcuts. I created a strong foundation for myself. Therefore, I can sustain the success that I'm about to create.
Exactly. Doing it the right way.
Doing it the right way.
Building the foundation, right? Because I always say fast success isn't actually fast success, because you're going to keep falling over many times. And by the time, if you just did it right, did it correctly, you would have been there, and you keep starting over. So yeah, man, just people want things way too quick in today's generation, just today's society, not even generation, my bad. Today's society, just people want things so damn quick, and you've been wanting it quick for 30 years. That's why you're still nowhere. Maybe if you would have done it the right way, the long way, you would actually be there way quicker. So the quick way is actually doing it the right way.
Yeah. It's not get rich quick. It's get rich eventually.
Exactly.
That's the strategy.
Yeah.
Tyler, let's pivot a little bit. Let's talk about social media. You've done a great job developing your personal brand and social media. And obviously you've been able to leverage that in order to build your business.
Yep.
Again, going from kind of the brick and mortar way of personal training to now doing it completely online. You have flexibility in your schedule. I know you and your fiance were just traveling, doing all the things, working. Talk to me about the power of social media and how people can really utilize it to build their goals, their dreams, and their businesses.
Dude, it's everything nowadays. It's 2024. Like, if you want to do anything with business, you got to be on social media. Look at you. You're vastly successful in solar, and you know the future. You need to be on social media. You need to build your personal brand. So I think social media is a non-negotiable if you want to have true leverage and be able to build anything you want to build in the future. So with that being said, most people, and people think social media is saturated nowadays. It's really not. I saw a statistic. It's like 96% of people don't even make posts or consistently make posts. And then out of like that 4%, only a little percent of that sticks with it over time. So that's why whenever people come to me, they're like, social media, isn't it saturated? This industry isn't saturated. I'm like, no, it's not saturated. And you think it's saturated because you see influencers, people who want companies to send them hoodies. You don't see people actually being consistent with this, building an actual business. So that's why the people I help, if they're coming in being consistent with social media, and then you actually have a service, a product, a whatever to provide, you're going to crush it and you're going to stand out because it's really not saturated at all. So I think social media is the easiest way to get ahead right now in any way. Even if you're working at Starbucks right now, find what it is you enjoy, what it is you like. Start posting about it, start being consistent. Like if you like freaking making paintings, I'm not kidding. Record yourself making a painting every single day for the next year. You'll be in the top 1%. You'll probably be getting paid for your paintings. People want your paintings. You'll have grown a brand, a company around your damn paintings from going from Starbucks to that. So that's the power of social media nowadays. I think it's truly easy to be successful nowadays, but it's super hard because no one wants to do it. So social media is the ultimate game changer nowadays. And our generation has it so freaking easy. Like I look at like my fiance's dad, I was even talking to him. I was like, you had it so much harder growing up than me. Like we have social media, we have this. It's so easy to get ahead nowadays compared to what you guys had back then. So I think we're living in the easiest time right now to get ahead and do whatever it is you really want to do.
Yeah, I remember Gary Vee. I watched the video. This is probably 5-6 years ago. And he's like, guys, you literally can go create any type of business you want on social media. Yep. All you have to do is go find that one thing that you're super passionate about. That could be Pokemon cards. That could be matcha iced teas. That could be Powerpuff Girls. Go find that one thing that literally turns you on. And like you said, just make content consistently. And eventually, as you start polishing it and you get better, you will create enough of a following where there is a way to monetize it because you truly love it, and people will feel that. Your customers and potential customers will feel that through your content and through your engagement, that you actually love the thing that you're doing.
Exactly.
Tyler, talk to me about creating an offer. So you've done a great job about going online, creating a business. So if I'm brand new, maybe I'm listening to this right now and I'm sick of my 9 to 5. Maybe I've been in this corporate job for 6-7 years. I get a 50 or $1 raise every single year. I get, you know, my own parking space, but I'm unfulfilled. I'm not happy with the money. And I have this passion and this calling to go do more.
Yep.
How can someone that has no experience on social or have created an online business start to actually create something online?
Yeah. So, well, you got to get on social media for the right reasons at first. So when people get on social media and day one, they're like, I'm doing this to get sales, I need to attract people right away, they're going to get really discouraged. So you got to kind of almost treat social media in a way like, I just enjoy putting it out right now. And it's going to slowly grow. Because that's where I've seen people grow the most, is when they're just kind of doing it because they enjoy doing it. It's what they like posting about. And then the people come and start showing interest. So don't do it day one to be making sales, getting customers, because you're going to be really discouraged and you probably won't last. So do social media the right way, right away. Figure out what it is you like. So that's creating your offer. You got to figure out what it is you like. So we'll use fitness as an example because that's what I primarily, help people with, be your own boss. So it's not just fitness, it's health, fitness, mindset, all the things that go with that. So when it comes to creating an offer, and the way we teach people to create offers is we do it all for them, right? And we teach them. But if you're sitting here watching this, you're like, how do I create an offer? What are you good at? What have you gotten through? What have you accomplished? What have you done? That is your offer. It's simple as that. So if you were 300 pounds and now you're 200 pounds, you lost 100 pounds. You did exactly what you needed to do to lose 100 pounds. So that is your offer. That is what you're going to start marketing. Because to build this business, an online service-based business, there's only 3 components of it. The fourth is fulfillment, but we won't talk about that. So the 3 components is marketing. You got to become a master marketer. You have to be able to show the thing that you were able to do, that you can help people do. If you can't do that, then how is anyone going to know? It doesn't matter how knowledgeable, how much you know. If you can't get it in front of anyone, you're not going to get any customers. So you need to first figure out, okay, what am I marketing? So you lost 100 pounds. So you need to start showing how you lost 100 pounds. Right? Show the journey with some pictures. Then maybe talk about, how was your eating? Then talk about this. Talk about the mindset. Talk about how you were depressed before, and then you did this, this, and this, and now you're not depressed. And once you got undepressed, you weren't stressed, you were able to lose weight. All those things into marketing. Then you need to be able to communicate with people and talk to them and figure out, what their goals are, why it's important to you, right? And then once you can get people there, you can get them into a position to buy from you. And when they buy from you, you're now selling that thing you've been marketing, you were talking to them in the DMs about, or wherever it is, and that's your offer. Your offer is, I'm going to help you, lose that 50 pounds you want to lose. It's important to you because for the last 7 years, you've hated how you felt. You don't even want to go to the pool. And then over time, with fulfillment, you're coaching them, you're teaching them, and you're going to get better and better and better at the fulfillment, right? It's the paralysis by analysis. At first, people are scared to get clients or do something because they're like, how am I going to coach them? Well, you're never going to do it if you never do it. So you got to start doing it, start getting good at it. So if you want to create an offer, figure out what it is you've done in your life, what's your passions, experiences, beliefs, and something you could see yourself really helping people with. That's your offer. I hope that answered that.
Masterclass, y'all. Rewind that part. In terms of the content you're putting online, and this is more of a question for me. So I think everyone has a different approach for content.
Yep.
Some people do the lifestyle, some people do the talking heads, some people do podcast style, motivation, content, documentation. Where do you think right now, for whether it's the algorithm or does it depend on your business or your space, what content should people be putting out right now? From versions to form to the actual content of the content.
Yeah, we'll talk about Instagram. That's so subjective. That's a great one. We have content's endless and it's so subjective. So experiences, passions, beliefs, right? So that's the foundation of what you're going to be posting. We'll start there. And then you need to do market research. So I can't answer this for anyone. You have to do market research. You have to find people who are posting how you could see yourself posting and doing what it is you're doing currently. They are getting a great result from it. You need to figure out and find that market research. And once you find that, you need to recreate it into yourself, right? Change the messaging up a little, but use the structure that they're already using that's already working. And social media is actually really easy because it's all in front of us what's working. what's not working, right? So you just have to do a little bit of market research. You have to figure out what's working, what can you see yourself doing, what's in your morals, like what style do you like, and then start recreating that into what it is you're doing, changing up the wording, the hooks, the everything to what it is you're doing, what it is you're selling, whatever it is. So that's what I do, man. I do lifestyle. So I do market research. I find people who are crushing it at the whole lifestyle, and I get similar content. I really enjoy it. I really like editing that way, and that's kind of what I do and double down on, and that's what I've helped my clients do. But also, I think people are a little too vanilla on social media. So if you're getting to the point now where you're posting quite a bit, you got to get a little more controversial. You got to start actually posting what it is you believe in, right? What your passions, experiences, beliefs. A lot of our beliefs, believe it or not, guys, are on one side or the other. And if you're willing to put that out there, right, you're gonna now stand out, and more people are going to be drawn and attracted to you because you're standing for one side or the other. And that's actually how you start building a real deal following, a real deal fan base, is by actually putting out there what's important to you, what you believe, and being a little controversial.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Patrick Bet-David?
Of course.
Yeah. So I was listening to a podcast with him yesterday, and kind of his journey from media, because he went from just some insurance sales guy to creating a podcast that just talked about business, and then creating another podcast that was about politics. And now he's all over the place. I think I just saw a stat where he's hit both his combined YouTube channels are like number 3 right now in terms of news, under CBC and, you know, whatever the other news station is. But it's so interesting because he just hit on exactly what you said. It's you have to actually be willing to lose followers and be seen to post things that you truly believe in.
Love it.
You know, a mentor once told him that you should never talk about politics at business or never post about politics. And he's like, nah, I'm going to do the complete opposite, because I am firm in my belief on what I believe in. And as long as I put that out there authentically, I'm going to attract other people that believe and piss the other side off, which at the end of the day, eyeballs are good regardless if they like you or don't like you. So I think that's great advice in terms of content.
Well, dude, let me ask you, if you start posting those things that you stand for, you believe in, that you're passionate for, you're going to attract your people. And if you're building an online service-based business, you want to attract your people. You want to work with people who are like you, who like what it is you're talking about, who are fans of you. You don't want to work with people who don't believe in any of that stuff. Then it wouldn't even work out anyways. So there's two sides to that. It's you're going to get way more views because half the audience is like, no, and half the audience is like, yes, and that's going to make you go viral. But then the other side of it is now you're going to be getting people who actually are your people, right? I want to attract my people. I don't want to attract people who don't believe in anything I'm talking about, right? Because it would never work anyways. So you got to be a little controversial. You got to be more specific on social media. Stop being right in the middle. And we'll use fitness as an example. I always tell my clients, don't stop posting bicep curls. No one cares. We've seen enough bicep curls. What goes into getting, in shape, right? It might be you got to get out of a toxic relationship, because a toxic relationship could be holding you back in all ways. That's totally crazy from bicep curls, but you see how now that could be more controversial. That's more specific. That's actually solving problems. And there's going to be this huge audience of maybe women, if you're a women's coach, who they see you talking about, getting out of toxic relationship, finding a healthy relationship, prioritizing yourself. You're going to attract them now, and they're going to learn a lot from you. And that's what's actually going to get them in shape, not the damn bicep curls. They can't even show up to the gym to do the bicep curls because they're so mentally messed up right now from all the elements in their life. So yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm real passionate about that.
No, I love
you got to
it,
be
dude.
Specific on social media.
Yeah. Last question on content, and then we'll wrap up here soon. When it comes to the actual production, are you using iPhone? Or you have professional camera? Because I've seen that it seems like social media content is, the pendulum is going back to more of like the raw and organic, not as much as like the super high def quality production. What tips do you have for people when it comes to the actual production and editing side?
Just start doing it, because if you're hung up on that process by analysis, and I think anything works if you're consistent with it. As long as you do a little bit of market research, you see that it is working. It will work for you eventually over time. So don't have buying a camera stop you. Use your iPhone. These cameras are insane. They're amazing. I still use my iPhone for my content. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. And it makes no difference at the end of the day. It's just whatever you're gonna be consistent, whatever you wanna be viewed as, however you want your stuff to look at. But at first you need to just get started, because if you keep analyzing everything, you're never gonna get started. And if you're always thinking about it, you're never doing. So you just need to get started. So use your iPhone, just get started. Just start filming yourself, start posting. Whenever anyone's about to start my academy, because we launch once a month, I always say, if you want to get ahead from now till the time we start, I only want to give you one thing because I don't want you screwing other things up, is start filming yourself talking. Start getting used to being comfortable in front of talking to the camera. Because if you can do that, you're going to be already way ahead of the game. So just start. Don't overanalyze it.
Boom. I think that's a common theme of our talk, dude, is just do it. Just take action.
There you go, yeah.
You know, most people, they want all the answers before actually doing it, when in reality, you get all the answers once you actually start doing it. And I think so many people are scared to take that first step to execute because, again, the false belief of being embarrassed or failing or being seen, when in reality, regret is a whole lot worse than failure.
1,000%.
You know, regret is probably one of the most disgusting things that you can do because it's one of the things that you can't change. No one wants to be the 70 or 75 or 80 or 85-year-old person that looks back at their life and is like, man, I really should have done that thing that I wanted to do. Man, I really should have listened to Tyler when he told me I could change my life through this outlet. Or, man, I really should have, you know, asked that girl out or moved to that state or, you know, quit my job and take a leap on my music career or whatever it is. Because I guarantee you, even if that thing that you took that chance on doesn't work out, it's going to lead you to the next thing. And if you continue to stay on track with your goals and your intuition on what doesn't feel good, but what puts you in that uncomfortable situation, eventually your current thing will take you to that next thing.
Exactly, man. So yeah, most people are living in regret right now. And that's why they're going out every weekend and they're hanging around other people's that are justifying their current situation. That's some hard stuff to hear, but that's the truth. It's like, why do people become addicted to that when they're living in regret and they're not happy and they're drowning it out and trying to justify it and normalize it? Instead, embrace it, hold yourself accountable, start taking some action. You're going to feel like a whole new person. You're going to feel great. And like Steven said, you know, you have a plan B. It's what you're already doing. And your plan B keeps elevating, right? So when I left being a busser to go in person, my plan B, I could always go back and be a busser. There was no risk. This is what we say, you just do it. So there was no risk. Once I started doing it in person and went online, guess what my plan B is? It's now upgraded. It's now doing in person. When I went from online coaching to this, now I'm business coaching, I always could go back to online fitness coaching. Your plan B just keeps elevating. And it's just taking step after step after step, like you said. And I'm sure even in your journey, man, you've been vastly successful. You can look back and your plan B just kept upgrading, right? So yeah, guys, stop living in regret, because most people right now are living in regret. And they're like, damn, man, I should have did that thing 5 years ago. Oh, I should have did this. You could stop that. You can start today, right? You stop living in the past. People are just living in the past, man. Live for today. You can rewrite the ending. Your ending right now isn't your ending, right? You can still start right now and have a different ending than what you have had so far in life.
Boom. Well said, dude. Tyler, my last question before we wrap up is, if the Tyler Fierro today, crushing it, successful business coach, ripped, all the things, right? Great fiance, great lifestyle. If that person today could go back in time, maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, to the Tyler that maybe didn't have the confidence, had the low self-esteem, was trying to figure out where he fits in the world, what would the Tyler today tell the past Tyler to help accelerate your growth, learning curve, and joy?
Whew, that's a hard one. I feel like I take every question you give me and I'm just like, whew. I would just say trust in the process, man. And I'm a big believer of you kind of have to go through all the things you have to go through to become the person you become. And that's why when clients come to me, sorry, I'm pivoting a little, and they go through 3 sales calls and they all say no. I literally tell them, like, I'm glad that happened to you, because now you're going to be stronger in the future and you're going to be able to handle no's. And you're going to actually, when you start getting yeses, you're going to build that endurance. So honestly, man, I would say just trust the process. You're going to just, in those dark times, just know it's all happening for a reason.
Boom. I love it. Dude, thanks so much for coming on.
Dude, it was amazing. Thank you for having me.
Where can the viewers find you if they want to get connected? Maybe they want to join your program. Maybe they just want to get connected. Where can they find you?
Yeah, so mostly right now, it's just through Instagram. I like to just stick through Instagram. So it's The Waist Coach. That was my old fitness name. Also, Tyler.Fierro on Instagram. That's Tyler.Fierro. And then The Waist Coach. Pretty simple how you spell it. And yeah, you just go there, send me a DM. I'm very passionate about my business. I respond to everyone. I send voice messages. I'm very connected with my business.
Love it, dude. Guys, definitely reach out, especially if you're in the fitness space. Even if you're not, reach out to this guy. Yes. Stop playing small. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, this is your guy to help take it to the next level.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you coming on, dude.
Appreciate you, man.
Guys, we'll see you in next week's episode. Appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, if you got value, like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next week.